Hey guys, welcome back to Entrepreneur Pod. Today we'll talk about why Donald Trump might die because of COVID-19. Let's head into it. Number 7. Removing his mask. Mr. Trump, who's still contagious, removed his mask on the balcony of the White House while posing for pictures. His physician said he would continue treatment from there, and he may not entirely be out of the woods yet. Several of Mr. Trump's staff and aides have also tested positive for the virus in recent days. Questions remain over the seriousness of Mr. Trump's illness after a weekend of conflicting statements. On Tuesday, his first morning back in the White House, the president took to Twitter to compare COVID-19 to the flu. Flu season is coming up, he wrote. Are we going to close down our country? No. We have learned to live with it, just like we are learning to live with COVID. The US remains the country worst hit by COVID-19, with 210,000 deaths and 7.4 million cases. Between October 1, 2019 and April 4, 2020, the flu caused between 24,000 and 62,000 deaths in the US, according to government figures. Mr. Trump's diagnosis has upended his campaign for a second term in office, less than a month before the Republican president faced the Democratic challenger, Joe Biden, in the presidential election. Number 6. What happened during Trump's return? Wearing a Navy business suit, tie and mask, Mr. Trump walked out of the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in the Washington, D.C. suburbs on Monday evening, pumping his fist. After a short helicopter ride, Mr. Trump was pictured alone on the Truman balcony of the White House. He removed his protective face mask before giving a thumbs up and a military-style salute. A couple of hours later, he tweeted a campaign-style clip of his return set to stirring music. Mr. Trump also recorded a video message urging Americans to get back to work. "You're going to beat it," he told them, adding, "We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. I stood out front and led." Number 5. Getting better. Mr. Trump also speculated, "Now I'm better. Maybe I'm immune. I don't know." The World Health Organization says it is too early to know if people who have recovered from COVID-19 are protected from a second infection, and if so, how long this protection might last. The president's own medical team does not consider him to be fully recovered yet. Mr. Trump also promised the vaccines were coming momentarily, although the US Centers for Disease Control has said no vaccine is expected to be widely available before the middle of next year. Before leaving the hospital, the president told Americans in a tweet not to fear the disease and said he would be back on the campaign trail soon. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden said he was glad the president appeared to be coming along pretty well, but he criticized Mr. Trump, saying, "Anybody who contracts the virus by essentially saying masks don't matter, social distancing doesn't matter, I think is responsible for what happens to them." According to US public health guidelines, Mr. Trump should remain in isolation for up to 10 days after symptoms first appear. The White House says the president first started to appear ill on Thursday evening and later tested positive. Number 4. An almost messianic message. Donald Trump says he has overcome the coronavirus, and you can too. In this video message from the White House, a maskless Trump tells the American public, "Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it." And so the president's message in the final weeks of his re-election campaign takes shape. He contracted the coronavirus because he was an out-front leader, and he had to do that. "Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did," he said. It's a message almost messianic in its undertones, one that the rest of his party is amplifying. The president has suffered and overcome and will lead the nation to a promised land beyond the virus. New York Post columnist Miranda Devine, co-tweeted by the president, said Mr. Trump would return to the campaign trail as an invincible hero. Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler tweeted out a video of Mr. Trump tackling a virus-headed antagonist. "There's a political and personal risk for the president, of course. He could experience a relapse or long-term medical difficulties. Americans who have lost loved ones to the disease might find his words and actions ill-considered or offensive." The president, however, seems determined to turn his recent weakness into a strength. Number 3. What did Trump's doctor say?
It's like I'm immune, so I can go way out of a basement, which I would have done anyway, and which I did, because you have to run a country. You have to get out of the basement, and it looks like I'm immune for, I don't know, maybe a long time.
His physician, Sean Conley, said on Monday afternoon that the president, whose oxygen levels dipped twice over the weekend, would be surrounded by world-class medical care 24/7 at the White House. He refused to answer questions about when Mr. Trump last received a negative test or to go into specifics of his treatment. He would not offer details regarding the president's scan to check for pneumonia, citing patient protection laws. He did confirm Mr. Trump is still on steroid dexamethasone and has received 3 doses of antiviral drug remdesivir. He was to receive another before discharge and a 5th at the White House. When asked about whether Mr. Trump was safe to travel for campaign events, Dr. Conley said, "We'll see. If we can get through to next Monday, with him remaining the same or improving better yet, then we will all take that final deep sigh of relief," he added. Number 2. What the doctors will be looking out for. Considering we're told President Trump tested positive on Thursday, he seems to be making great progress, especially as he is a high-risk patient. Being 74, a man, overweight, and living with a heart condition, he's received a cocktail of drugs, normally reserved reserved for the sickest of COVID patients who have been ill for weeks, not days. To aid in hastening his recovery, it's not clear when Mr. Trump caught the virus or first started to feel unwell. Most people who develop symptoms do so on around day 5. Some people have only mild symptoms that clear up after a week or so with some bed rest. A turning point can be around 7 days later, with some patients getting more serious lung infection from the virus. These patients need to be in a hospital because they can deteriorate quickly and need expert care. The body can go into overdrive fighting the virus, leading to respiratory failure, septic shock, and multiple organ damage. Mr. Trump's doctors say they remain cautiously optimistic about the president's health, but on guard for at least the coming week should things take a turn for the worse. Number 1. Conclusion. So overall, Trump is in good shape right now and seems to feel safe. That said, it's still possible that the disease gets worse, and he could even die because of it, but right now, he seems to become healthy again. We hope he gets well soon and won't die. What do you think about Donald Trump? Are you afraid that he will die? Let us know in the comment section. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. I'll see you in the next video.